Okay, so I'm going to start with this. Time is up. Time is up for the corrupt, for all the harm and the unfairness and the imbalances that they have caused, not just this country, but the world. And I'll get into where all this kind of came from. Yeah, so yesterday I was feeling really just hopeless and anxious and just all the negative energy around like what I'm doing, what I'm sharing. And like there's so much technical issues with me like recording, and so many issues with me actually getting the message out, you know. But eventually, and I think it's because I was kind of avoiding mentioning something specifically, and but once I did, everything just flowed. Now, let's see, where do I go with this? So I ultimately, though, let me finish this. So I recorded this message, and then, you know, the anxiety, the tests, the triggers, the technical glitches and hiccups that I was experiencing, that were all ultimately meant to like help me, that were all guiding me towards continuing on this path and like, you know, trusting myself, etc. It got to the point where like even with my tarot readings were being infiltrated by like these negative energies. But ultimately I got to this point last night where I was like, I guess maybe this is it. Maybe I'm supposed to take a completely different route and not continue doing this stuff, you know, like maybe I got it all wrong, even though everything has been pointing me to this point to do this stuff. And I even recorded like one final episode, like, and it was my total freedom episode, which actually all just connects and correlates with all of this stuff. I just got chills on the back of my head. And yeah, I recorded it. I haven't posted either of them. But ultimately I just kind of was getting to this place where I was like, I guess I need to, you know, throw in the towel and you know, go get a job somewhere that I was looking at. And I might still be having to do that, but again, but it was kind of like doing that and not continuing doing this kind of stuff, you know. And it sucked, you know. I wrote tons and tons of pages of like, you know, trying to process it, but every time like it was just the amount of like what I now know is spiritual warfare, which again, all this, you'll understand, I'm going to explain all the signs and things that were coming through, but it was hard to even like recognize that as that. Even though I did, it was hard for me to really like embody that that's what was happening, and it was just trying to throw me off course, you know. It was hard for me to really believe and hope that like things were going to turn out for the best for me, truly. Like it sucked, you know. And I felt like, you know, I couldn't get any clear messages, not just from like, you know, various outlets, but even within myself. Like I felt like I was like aimlessly wandering. But okay, so anyway, so yeah, like I said, I recorded what I thought. I even said in the video, like, this, I guess, is my final episode, you know? And so then I go to bed, okay? And I have a really strange dream. I had a lot of strange dreams over the last few days, especially, where previously, just before that, a few days before all that happened, I had like one of the most beautiful dreams. It was probably the most beautiful dream of my life, which was like so symbolic towards like everything that was coming in for me and like my abundance and these gifts and everything. And it like it was, and why that's so significant is like I have always been plagued with really terrible and even oftentimes like chaotic, violent, traumatic dreams ever since I was a little girl. That's why I don't think I liked going to sleep and going to bed early, because subconsciously I knew I was afraid of what might come through. So, okay. Anyway, so I had this crazy dream. And then when I woke up this morning, I was just in this state of like anxiety and panic, and again like an even deeper feeling of like hopelessness, like not even that like what I see for my life, like my future. It wasn't even that I couldn't see that as like a possibility. It was like I could only see and feel as if like I was gonna end up going down the complete opposite path, where like I was just going to be in complete debt for the rest of my life, and then I was going to have to work a bullshit job that paid shit money for the rest of my life, never being able to get ahead, and then that I was going to end up having to marry somebody who like is like super karmic and not actually like my true love and what I know I'm destined for. But so I was just so deep in that, where I was like, even no matter how much I tried, I could not get past it. I tried to clear my energy. I even asked like my divine beings, like, please, if there's external influence happening, please take care of it for me. And when I've done that in the past, it worked. And I did feel a slight difference, but they just kept coming back, okay? And so I'm like, I roll over and just try to like calm myself down and try and like work through this. And then all of a sudden my phone pops up with a notification about a reading from Natija. And I love her. But I was a little hesitant because it's like, I don't want to like watch a video. Literally, I'm not even out of bed. I haven't even gotten up yet. I didn't really want to watch it, but there was something about it was like, no, watch this. And I can't remember the exact title, but it was something about like karmic timelines unraveling, time's up, and then like 555 444 333 222 111, you know, this like countdown thing happening. And so I start listening to it, and like from the get-go, it was like not only like resonating with what I was going through, but it was like it was the message I needed to hear, because like I said, I was at this point where I was literally about to give up on what I was doing, with like, you know, speaking my truth, like becoming this new earth thought leader to help shift us out of this dark, dense, heavy, corrupt, greed-filled energy. Okay. And she goes into it, and I wrote again, once I like listened to it through it all, I like wrote pages and pages of like journaling about it. But it was because there were so many little things that she said in there that aligned and confirmed what I literally either said or was feeling or thinking yesterday. Let's see, maybe I will read through it. Okay. Maybe I will, and let's just like go from there, because this might be a long one, because I've got a lot that I want and need to say. So, okay, I was just like, whew, okay. So I woke up this morning with this crazy anxiety, and I was feeling more hopeless than I have in a long time. Like, it was difficult for me to even imagine pulling myself out of this, and the fear that I was going to end up, you know, like my family and so many other people have, doing dead-end jobs, struggling to get by, marrying less than I deserve, were all popping up, and we're all popping in. And like I said, even if I tried to clear and cleanse it, it wasn't stopping. Also, when I said the fear that I was going to end up, the lights that are around me started flashing, which happens. That's like a sign from the divine for me, because it doesn't happen. It's not consistent, and it's always different lights, different colors, different patterns out of nowhere, but it's always around when I'm doing this stuff. So the lights started flashing when I, you know, said like what I said about the fear that I was going to end up basically living the life I don't want. But anyways, my chest was also super sore, like heavy and achy, which she ends up mentioning in that reading. But so yeah, I tried to calm myself down, and when I rolled over, this reading from Natija popped up suddenly. I decided to click on it, and like, wow, seriously, it was exactly aligned and what I needed to hear. The weird little confirmations were wild, especially compared to what I was, lights flashing again on my left side, especially compared to what I was feeling, thinking yesterday. She confirmed that there's been a lot of trickster energy surrounding and infiltrating my energy, making me doubt what I'm doing and if I'm on the right path. She also said that there was a lot of blocks around money and work, and how these blocks were coming from these dark negative energies, evil eye shit. And that I have ancestors, a masculine one, which I felt like might have been my grandpa Black, my mom's dad, but also my other grandfather, and just masculine side down the lines. But yeah, a masculine who is very angry with how hard I'm having to work and struggle to get to the life I deserve and that I'm calling in because of these trickster blocks. And you'll understand why that's important. I'm going to get to it in a minute. But she mentioned social media several times, but ultimately these ancestors are pissed and they're letting me know that this ghoulish Halloween haunting shit is about to get shut down, that karmic justice is about to lay down the law. So the ones trying to keep me feeling so low and hopeless are about to reap their negative karmic rewards while opening up my positive karmic justice. She continued on with how there have been people gossiping about me, sending me negative energy, etc., because they're jealous or they see how divinely in tuned I am, but that they don't realize that they're about to have the karmic spotlight turned onto them, shown on them, and not in a good way. But yes, she went on about how these energies have been working overtime to stop me, which is why I have been feeling so fearful, doubtful, and just disconnected from my intuition and overall just hopeless. Then she mentioned something about lightning and electrical lines, which was so wild because last night I had this dream with this insane lightning in it. It was insane, guys. I wish I could show you, but at first, and I don't have dreams like that. Like lightning doesn't appear in my dreams very often, but at first I was walking around on my old college campus, and I looked up and there was lightning dancing across the sky horizontally, almost like visible electrical lines. And then something shifted and there was like these 3 massive lightning bolt storms that all came together and blasted their bolts straight down towards the ground onto some houses or buildings. I couldn't remember specifically. And I remembered being concerned for the people that may be there. Either I or someone that I was with said, don't worry about it. It's not your concern, not my concern. Just stay focused on what you're doing. So that was so wild for her to mention the lightning thing, which again, I'm going to get to. I'm not sure what the reference was, but apparently on the East Coast, there was some massive lightning strike. And she said that she and some other readers were like, yeah, time's up. And that's what she said. And so then and again, I had to look it up because I didn't hear about any of this stuff. And maybe you have, and that's why this is all relevant. But so then I was like, yep, time's up for all this trickery nonsense. Which brings me to another thing from yesterday. I was thinking about how the media or people may try to like lie or slander my name, especially after like making it. And the words, these words, they're all lies and poppycock came through. Like that's what I was saying. That's what I envisioned saying when this stuff, if this stuff ever came through. But again, lies and poppycock, again, it's not something that I say like very often or ever. But then I was like, but I wasn't totally sure what poppycock meant. I had an idea, but I wanted to look it up. So when I looked it up, it literally just said nonsense, which she mentioned in there like a few different times using the word nonsense. She also mentioned something about a rooster and used the word cock, specifically relating to someone's ego. And that was so wild because of the whole poppycock nonsense, people's using their ego, you know, or being led by their ego to you know, put out this lie, this negative energy, this slander, whatever. She also couldn't stop using the words trickster and trickery and mentioned how she couldn't stop saying that, which was super wild because in my video yesterday, what I recorded yesterday that I haven't posted as of this moment as I'm recording this, but I know I'm going to post it now before I post this. But anyways, because in my video yesterday, it was about dark forces infiltrating you, trying to throw you off course. And I literally said trickster, trickery, like shit I never say. Like I never say that. I don't usually pay much mind to that kind of stuff, you know, but that's what came through. Again, all in alignment with this message that came through today. But yeah, like I said, like I said, the number of overlaps and confirmations were wild. On top of the timing that it popped up this morning, right when I was feeling so anxious and hopeless. She also did say that I should continue sharing and that I am on the right path and that this nonsense would clear up soon. She mentioned a masculine with a J name, which J has stood out to me as like my potential DM having a J name. And then eventually she mentioned K, so my initials KJ were also in there. I'm not going to overanalyze this. I just wanted to document it all. But yeah, yesterday I was at the point where I truly thought I was going to and meant to give up on recording these episodes, these messages. I recorded a final episode and everything. I recorded a final episode and everything, which I know is what those dark forces wanted. But I truly felt that maybe that's what I was supposed to do. And then one more thing she mentioned in the reading wasn't saying like, if it wasn't a heck yeah, it's a no, which relates to all these jobs that I was looking at yesterday. None of them were heck yeahs. But yeah, I have this wildly accurate overlapping confirmation with all my stuff yesterday, which is so amazing and beautiful. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot in this video she mentioned chosen ones a ton in this, that video. And the thought, and I was having the thought about how I don't feel as resonant with so many readers because I feel like they're speaking to more of a general collective, and how the only ones, lights flashing again, that resonate are the ones connected to chosen ones. And again, another overlap. I watched lights flashing again, a chosen one video that resonated so deeply. This was yesterday morning. I watched it. And how when a chosen one is close to a major breakthrough, dark forces give one last hard blow to try and knock us off course, using the term spiritual warfare. And she mentioned this spiritual warfare going on in this reading. Again, I can't make any of this stuff up. And it really does just show how tuned in I truly am and how much I'm picking up on, even if I was being influenced to doubt it. It was just so wild and so amazing. Thank you, my beautiful divine team, my divine angels, and my higher self for your unending love, support, and protection. I love you all so much, and I am so incredibly grateful to you and for you. Please continue protecting me and blocking out any and all dark, negative, trickster energy. Please help me to stay grounded, focused, lights flashing again, and fully trusting in myself, my guidance, just constant flashing lights now, my mission and my purpose. Please help me to see clearly and to trust what I'm seeing and feeling around the messages I receive. So yeah, I think it's time to post the Dark Forces episode, record a new one about these revelations today. And then I said, mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you, my loves. Whew, I hope, I know that whoever needs to hear this and whoever this is going to resonate with will have hopefully stayed through that. And if you need to speed through it, I get it. But again, I mentioned all of this stuff for a reason. Okay. So have all this clarity and revelations and this overlapping. And then I was like, well, what is this lightning strike that she's talking about? Okay. Cause I literally, I hadn't heard anything about it. I don't pay attention to the news and all that stuff. So, but yesterday I actually was on a news, looking at articles to read, and none of that was mentioned, which is interesting. So I looked up what this lightning strike was, and apparently lightning struck the Empire State Building, the U.S. Capitol, which I think it was the Washington Monument, and the U.S. Capitol building, and maybe one or two other places, and the World Trade Center, all on New Year's Eve. All symbols of greed and corruption and capitalistic empires and leaders. New Year's Eve, the final evening of 2024. And then I wrote something like, today's episode, it's a sign that the powers that have been are about to be knocked off their pedestal. The only people this is a bad omen for are the ones who have kept us trapped and small in scarcity mindset. And the lights flashed green and then red while I was writing that out. Whew. So, yeah. Time's up for those empires and industries that have been what's the way of putting it, that have been like elevating themselves, building their wealth, building their everything at the sacrifice and expense of us. Which again, she did mention that in the early beginning parts of it, where it's like work imbalances, pay imbalances, money, like, you know, not being paid fair wage, like all this stuff. So it literally just all coincides together in such a powerful way. And even total freedom, that one episode that I recorded last night, it mentions that. It literally is all about that, how these industries, these leaders have kept us playing small, like stuck in their cog of their wheel of fortune cog, basically, in order to help them live these big, majestic, expansive lives, all at the expense of ourselves. And basically, you know, they give you just enough of like of freedom and abundance to like keep you satisfied, or keep you satisfied, but not enough to actually like allow you to step into and trust in your powerful, unique, creative, manifesting energy and power. And again, I'm still going to post that one day, because I wrote it out a while ago, earlier this year, and it still just resonates so deeply. And it's all about being your authentic self, and like tapping into that, and like choosing to not only recognize what these industries, these jobs, this whole society culture that we've been like forced into, to recognize where they're keeping you small, because small equals safe. And small keeps you from standing up and like taking your power back. But yeah, you know, when I was reading, like, there's also, mind you, there's actually not very many articles about this lightning strike, which I thought was interesting as well. Because, I mean, that's kind of major, but, you know, maybe, well, you know, powers that be, the gatekeepers, whatever, they didn't want to feed into the concept, the conspiracy of it all, you know. But there was one article where it's like different people who had posted about it, and like, you know, some people were like, oh, it's a bad omen, something awful is gonna happen, or, you know, some people were just like, guys, it's lightning, it happens, da da da, whatever. But like, the fact that it struck on New Year's Eve, the last evening of 2024, before 2025, which for those of us in this like kind of higher consciousness community and energy, we know that 2025 is the year of the chosen ones rising and taking not only our power back, but doing it in a way that helps to empower the world. So I felt like I really wanted and needed to put out this message from this perspective, because like, you know, there's a lot of people, yeah, that think, oh, it's a bad omen. They think everything's a bad omen, you know, like they think, but here's the thing, the only bad omen it is representing or is marking is for the ones who have tried to keep us trapped and small and feeling hopeless and defeated, like we don't have the power or the abilities to rise up and to create the life of our dreams. Because yeah, I mean, it's something I've mentioned in so many of my other episodes. Like even the very first thing that I recorded earlier, I think it was earlier this year or last year, and it was about kind of this shift into the age of Aquarius, where in the age of Pisces, there was, you know, there's a light and a shadow side, but in the age of Pisces, there was a lot of like deception, confusion, greed, corruption, and really that's not just age of Pisces. That's something that we have been dealing with for eons, throughout several of these ages, okay? But the age of Aquarius is like when we actually come back and we level up, we rise up. We are rising up into the 5D right now. Whether or not you are on board with it, it's happening, you know? And so, again, that's what's so just wild about this whole lightning strike thing and the places that it struck, because this is something that, I mean, those of us who have the vision have been predicting and anticipating for a while. ultimately the tower crumbling, the foundation crumbling beneath these people who have just built it on the blood, sweat, tears, death, stress, anxiety, disregard of the people who helped them get there. Actually just watched Enola Holmes, both of them, but I watched the second one recently, and it was interesting because it was all about basically this match factory where, again, men in power. Men in power. There was one line where it was like there's like this treasury guy talking about this match factory owner entrepreneur, and he said, he took this business from red to black in 2 years, or should I say red to white, because they changed the match formula. Okay, but what was happening is that they changed it because it was cheaper, but what it was actually doing is it was actually killing the women working in this factory. These were young girls and young women, it was killing them left and right, and they were trying to cover it up. They were trying to keep it a secret so that they could keep making their money while these women are literally dying left and right. And then there was one woman a couple women who decided who realized what was happening, and they were doing their own tests and realizing like, oh my God, okay, this is the red stuff. This was the original formula, and this is the new formula, and they put it in like plants. They like tested it with like a rat on some cheese. Everything that had the white stuff died, period. The red stuff, no, so it's just interesting because I watched that a couple days ago just out of randomness, and now to see how it all kind of coincides with this kind of stuff. But ultimately it's symbolic of these places. So eventually though, they ended up walking out. They ended up like, she stirred up enough. They tried to silence her, but she kept fighting. She kept standing up, and she ultimately like had a whole total like walkout situation. And then eventually got like those people in trouble. Again, I don't know the actual history, but this is the movie. This is how it played out. They ended up getting their justice served to them, in the sense that when the treasury guy was arrested, and I'm sure the factory owner took a really big hit there, but it was like one of the first like female movements to like, to put their foot down, in essence, and to stand up for themselves. Even when they knew that they had so much going against them, they still fought, and they still continued to rise. So actually really kind of beautiful message there. And then how this is all kind of connected to what's been happening, because yesterday I felt like I needed to record something. I was still going into the thick of this, like, just being bombarded by these thoughts and ultimately these dark energies. And it was around, one of my biggest vulnerabilities, which is like the lack scarcity mindset, which is something that I know I'm here to break as a curse breaker for my family lineage. And it's all mentioned in that episode to some extent, but I had so many issues trying to like record the message, because I think I was focusing on more of the lack scarcity mindset stuff. And I think I tried recording like 5 or 6 times, and it got to the point where I was like, maybe I'm not. But then something brought me to this whole dark energy spiritual warfare idea, and I didn't really want to bring it up, because as I mentioned in the video, it's like, if you don't believe in something, it doesn't really affect you, like if you whatever. But again, I think for us, especially as like chosen ones, we kind of can't ignore that stuff, because our rising is the demise of everything, of all of that dark stuff, all that dark energy, dark forces, etc. They don't want us to rise, because if we do, that means we will help others rise. And the more of us that rise, the less power those energies have, the less power those people who have been trying to keep us small have, And that's what they're afraid of. And that's why you're seeing so much more chaos and destruction and turmoil and everything, But so eventually, like, you know what? I was sitting here and I said, fuck it. I'm going to record, I'm going to call those things out. And I kind of mentioned it all in there about like, you know, there's some energies like, or some people who do dark stuff who do it because they want to be seen, they want to be recognized. But in this case, they don't want that recognition, because as long as they're playing this like sneaky, coy, under the covers trickster bullshit, you'll just continue to think that it's something wrong with you, something that you have to deal with, something that you haven't healed or whatever, and ultimately keep you feeling trapped. But that's why I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to call them out, even if, you know, but you know what? And that was one of the thoughts that kept popping in, was like trying to make me feel like people are going to think I'm crazy or whatever. But again, I know that the ones who are meant to hear those messages will understand and will maybe bring some light to what they've been dealing with, if they haven't already figured that out. And at the very least, it's going to give them a little like camaraderie and reassurance that like they're not alone. This isn't just affecting them. These energies, these dark forces are attacking all of us right now. And that's why because again, if they keep attacking us and they ultimately like get to a point where they stop us from moving forward, that means that like we won't even rise up, but we won't ever find each other. And when chosen ones and light workers and these powerful beings come together, I've had visuals about it, but like the amount of power and light that just kind of explodes out is like cosmic, atomic love energy, light energy, you know. And that's what they're afraid of. And that's why so many of us are being bombarded with all of these doubts, these worries, these feelings of hopelessness that we know in our heart and our soul is not the truth. But that's what's also so beautiful about this whole lightning strike and the messages that I received and everything. Like, just that time is coming to an end. And that's what happens, you know. It's like, it's that last ditch effort to try and stop us from like actually moving forward with what we know we are here to do. So, to all those corrupt, egoic, manipulative, just terrible leaders, your time's up. And I know you know it. Somewhere within you, you know your time's up. And that's why you're so scared right now. And that's why you're trying to deflect and hide and like just, you know, distract the world from actually rising up. But it's not going to work. Because guess what? We're all too connected. We all have we're too intuitive, too strong, too connected. You might get close, but here's the thing. We're also not alone. There's energies, divine, loving, powerful energies who are seeing everything that's happening behind closed doors and within the confines of your mind. They see it, they hear it all. So no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you will not win. Your time is coming to an end. And that's on you. That's your karmic justice. And trust me, it's not going to be pretty. Whether you face those consequences in this life or a future life, it's going to happen. You might think you got away with a lot, but you didn't. No, because you are going to have to balance that shit out eventually. And my God, I would not want to be you. So, you know, if you're one of those and you happen to see this message, I implore you to start working on that balance now. Because if you don't, and you even hear this message and you know you should be doing something different, that is only going to make your future karmic consequences and justice even worse. And that's all on you. You can't put that on anybody. Not anymore. That time is up too. The time of deflecting and putting your shit onto other people, no, it's done. It's done. Yeah, sucks to suck, but those are the choices you made. And you've stood by them and acted like everything was all good, but it won't be, not for you. And that's why it's time for us, the chosen ones and the light workers, and all of us who know and trust and believe in the power of the infinite love and light of the divine. It's time for us to rise. So, to whoever you are, whatever you're doing, well, you know what? I'm not going to say what I usually say, because this is to my chosen ones and my light workers and all of my divine, beautiful, lovely beings. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay strong, keep holding on, and we will get to the other side.